Hi, my name is Daryl, and here's your Jeep news for February 14th. So in my first news story, it's all about Trump and tariffs. So a couple of days ago, Trump announced that he was going to put 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum coming into the United States. This is obviously going to have effect on automakers that bring in foreign steel and aluminum. You know, they're probably going to move a lot of their use of steel to the United States, but it's going to end up costing them a little bit more money. And so as consumers who buy automobiles, it's going to cost us money as well. But some of the big news was just, I think 2 days ago, Trump announced that he plans on putting 100% tariffs on Canadian automobiles. So yeah, a lot of automakers build automobiles both in Mexico and Canada. Now, luckily, Stellantis, they only have one model built in Canada, which is the Pacifica. But I don't think what a lot of people understand is that, you know, a lot of the manufacturing that goes on in Michigan and other parts of the country, the parts go back and forth between Canada and Mexico quite a bit. So just because the automobile is manufactured in the United States doesn't mean that's where its parts come from. And so Stellantis, just like every other auto manufacturer, is going to take a real big hit if this actually comes into fruition. In fact, Ford, who actually is the #1 U.S. domestic producer of automobiles, so you think they would be least affected by this, he says that Trump's tariffs are causing chaos in the automobile industry. And so his direct quote on here says that, you know, President Trump has talked a lot about making U.S. automobile industry stronger. And I think, you know, that's what his goal for all of this is. But what we're seeing right now is a lot of cost and a lot of chaos, because nobody really knows what Captain Chaos is going to do next. And so business and industry, they like stability, they like calm, they don't like chaos. Chaos is not good for business. And so hopefully, you know, hopefully things settle down a little bit and the automakers know exactly what's going to happen. And I think it'll be in general good for the entire industry. All right, so on our next news story, this has to do with the Hurricane straight 6 twin turbo engine that currently goes in the Wagoneer and the Grand Wagoneer, as well as the Ram 1500 trucks. And it seems like some of the techs at the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealerships are having some problems with these particular engines. So I found this video from Tyler Potter. He's actually had a YouTube channel for a while, so he's you know, he has a 395 videos out there. And yeah, he started way back in 2013. And so if you go down and look at his videos, you know, he focuses a lot on the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram products and Jeeps. So he's into high speed and, you know, high horsepower engines. And he works at a Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and dealership. And so he was talking about the Hurricane engine and what a lot of the techs are seeing at dealerships. And we really covered 3 different things. First one was a catalytic converter. Is that a catalytic converter? Catalytic converter, which I guess is failing in a lot of these Hurricane engines, especially in the really high horsepower versions of the Hurricane engine, where it gets really hot. And I guess they're thinking that the turbos and the outlet from the turbos going into the catalytic converter is so hot that the catalytic converters are actually burning up. So that's not good. And he actually said that the catalytic converter is really difficult to replace on these things. The other issues that he's having with the catalytic converter, he says that the thermostat is failing, and in many instances it's failing closed. So you don't even get a check engine light. Basically, the engine just heats up really fast and overheats. And I guess it probably, you know, if you don't deal with it right away, it could cause engine failure. And finally, he also talks about some misfire codes that are happening. So you'll get a misfire code, and it's either in bank 1 or 2, cylinders 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, and 6. He says kind of an update on the computer usually fixes that issue. But yeah, I guess that engine, according to a lot of the techs at the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealerships, have been causing them a lot of issues, and they're nicknaming the engine, and what do they call it? Instead of the hurricane engine, they're calling it the ShitStorm engine. So yeah, yeah, so not great. So I did go through some of the Wagoneer forums just to see if I saw a lot of talk about these particular failures, and I didn't really notice anything, but he is a tech, and he says a lot of the techs are really afraid to talk about this. So I guess we'll find out, probably relatively soon, now that the Ram 1500 and the RHO engine has been out, if this is really going to be failure that is going to happen to a lot of these Hurricane engines. So in our next news story, let's talk about the Jeep Recon. So if you don't know, the Jeep Recon is kind of the full EV version of the Wrangler. It's not quite as rugged as the Wrangler, so it doesn't have all of the off-road chops, but it's meant to be an off-roader and it's a full EV. And it was featured in the Jeep commercial that debuted in the Super Bowl. So it had the Wrangler kind of going one direction and the Jeep Recon going a different direction. And they talked about diverging paths, so maybe one being internal combustion and the other being a full EV off-roader. Nevertheless, I saw this story on Mopar Insider, so they've got, I would recommend that you check out this website, and they've also got a YouTube channel associated with the website. And they talked about this vehicle being featured on Jeep's website, and they say it's set for a Q4 2024 launch. I think they really meant Q4 2025 launch, but the actual vehicle is starting manufacturing on Monday. So they're probably going to be done manufacturing the product. They'll probably have it in containment for a little while just to make sure that everything's good with the software and everything works as it should. But if you go to Jeep's website, you're going to see, if you just kind of scroll down, you're going to see the Jeep Recon featured right here next to the Gladiator and the Wrangler. And if you notice really closely, the tow hooks on this Recon are red. So typically on the Wrangler 4xe, the tow hooks are blue, because they want to kind of associate it with the 4xe, and blue, it's, it's energy efficient. So they're speculating that perhaps they're going to come out with a hybrid version of the Recon sooner rather than later, because right now it's slated for a full AV. But, of course, Stellantis has made a little kind of a switch in strategies in regards to focusing on full EVs. Well, now they're focusing on kind of multiple powertrain opportunities, and the Jeep Recon is built on the Stella large platform. And the Stella large platform actually supports full EVs, it supports internal combustion engines, and it also supports hybrid and plug-in hybrid as well. And so, they can do a lot with that particular platforms and most of the brand new Stella platforms that are out there. So perhaps we're going to see a hybrid version of the Recon really quickly. So for those of you that maybe want an independent front suspension, but you still want to be able to do some of the off-road things, but maybe you're not quite sold on the full EV platform. Well, if you've got a plug-in hybrid or a hybrid option, that might be very interesting. So yeah, that's really cool to see. And last but not least, don't know if you've seen this, but I found this on Motor Authority, and Stellantis has actually been piloting a mobile tech service in the Southeast this year, and they're planning on making it more large scale in 2025. So the Jeep Senior Vice President, Mike Koval Jr., said Ford, I think it's oval blue. So Koval noted that they're kind of blueprinting Ford's Blue Ovals mobile service program, which I guess Ford actually did this in 2023. So they say they do have a head start, as well as Rivian and Tesla. But he says, we'll come to wherever you are, your home, your workplace, wherever you want to get your vehicle taken care of. And the mobile service techs, they're going to basically be able to do most of the light work. So some real big heavy duty stuff they're probably not going to be able to do. But he says definitely more technicians are going to have to be able to be brought in order to do this a program with a slightly different skill set. But yeah, I think that's pretty exciting that now you can get some of those things taken care of mobily as opposed to having to visit the dealership. we all kind of really like convenience nowadays. We don't like to go out, get our food. We want to have our food delivered to us at the home. And yeah, why not get your automobile taken care of wherever you are as well. So yeah, it's kind of good to see. This is Daryl with your Jeep News. Hope to see you in the next one again very soon.